So we are done with the first commit, right? And when we say git log, we got this particular commit here and we are happy with it, right? We got the first commit basically. So what I will do is I will make some changes. Let's say I want to add some exclamation marks here. Okay, so when I do that, and if I want to, let's say I want to do the get status, and as I mentioned before, this get status will be using a lot. So when I say get status, it says, oh, get status on branch, everything is clean. Maybe the file is not saved. Okay, that's the issue. So you have to make sure that you save the file because even Git is not sure what you have done. So every time you make some changes, save it in your working directory first. And now if you see, it says changes not staged for commit. Basically, there's a file which we have created. And now this is into a modified stage. Now that's right. The thing is, every time you make a change, or let's say every time you create a file, it is into working directory, right? And then you try to stage it. So that goes into the staging area. So we got a working directory, then we move that to a staging area. And then from the staging area, we do commit so that it will go to the local commits, right? So those are the steps which we take. So before making these changes, we had data in the local commit, and then it was there in the staging as well. The moment you make some changes now, it goes into, again, a working directory. Now, this is not staged. Example, how do I know this is not staged? Example, let's say if I do a commit now. So let's say if I'm doing a commit, and this time I will say this is my second commit. Of course, this is not a good way of writing message, but just for learning purpose, we are doing it. So when I say enter now, you can see it says changes not staged for commit. Basically, if you want to commit something, the data, the file should be there in the staging area. This is not. So that's important. So every time you make a change, add that to staging area, then move that to the commit. Now, how do we add it? We have done that before, right? We can simply say git add. In fact, let me just clear this screen. So I will say git add, and then I will say first code.txt. And then when I say enter, okay, so now this is into a staging area. And now once we move that to staging area, I can say enter, and now we have done with the second commit. So in total, we got 2 commits. Okay. If I do a git log to check how many commits I have, so you can see we have 2 commits here. This was your first commit. This is your second commit. And of course, with every commit, you get the message there. You get the time, which is mentioned here. And then you also get the author who has done that. So maybe if you are working in a team, you are doing some collaboration. So you will also know who has done what commit. And that's important. Okay, so now this is where my head is. Now the thing is, imagine head is a pointer. So even if you have multiple pointers in your local commits, as I mentioned, local commits, I have multiple, it's basically multiple commits, right? So you'll be having a pointer, which one is the latest one, or which one we are pointing to. So here we are pointing to this one. And again, we'll focus this more once we move towards the concept of branching. Okay, now what do you think if I add one more exclamation? So what's the step? First, save it. The moment you save it, of course, it becomes a modified version. So it is not staged. And you can see we also get a message here, or not a message, but in VS Code, especially if you're using some IDEs which supports Git in a good way, and VS Code does that. And you can see it says M, which is your modified. And the moment you add that to your staging, this will be gone. But what if, of course, staging is important, right? So from working, you move that to staging. From staging, you move that to commits. But what if you want to directly commit? Something like this. Let's say I want to do the commit, and I will say, this is my third commit. I'm very bad with comments, but this should be something like added exclamation mark or solved a particular story if you're working in agile methodology. But here, let's say I have this particular commit, and now I want to do the commit without staging. Can we skip staging? And we can. If you want to skip the staging part, you can simply use a -a as an option. So say git commit -a, then -m for the message, and then you can pass the message. Basically, you are skipping the staging thing. So if I say enter now, you can see the commit has been done without going into staging area. Okay, so that's important. If you don't write -a without staging, it will say it is not tracked. So if you want to move from the working directory to commit, this is how you do it. Okay, now if I do git log once again to check everything is good, so you can see we got 3 commits. This is the third one, recent one. And if I say enter, you will also see the previous commits. So this is how basically you use -a to move the file from working directory to the commits.